Hey everybody, thanks a lot for joining us on the Beer and Bullshit podcast again this week. So this week Jay and I were hanging out with Nathan and Darcy from All the Wasted Years. They just put out an album called I'm Fine a few weeks back, and we had a chance to talk a little bit about that album release. They were actually supposed to go on tour this summer, and that got kiboshed by the whole COVID-19 situation. So basically we got into all that, the future of music, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the podcast. Cheers.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all through the week we've been drinking beer, and we'll be drinking when you get here, thinking will I ever be sober, hoping this will never be over. And I'm drinking beer, and I'll be drinking when you get here. We started drinking liquor so we could get drunk quick.
So we are recording, and we are live with the voice of Beer and Bullshit, All the Wasted Years tonight. How you guys doing?
It was pretty good, man. Thanks for having. Well, I mean, we asked you to have us. You know what I mean? We're not a hot commodity.
We're not.
Right now, but
We're not humble. We're not humble.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. All right.
How you guys holding up anyways through all this? This probably threw your band plans for a bit of a fucking loop.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Darcy, you take this one. I don't want to hear my voice.
Yeah. This really shot down our new album, you know? So we had plans to release the album and then do like a good 10-day tour. And we had a bunch of shows booked out east on the East Coast. So like Halifax and stuff like that, and all that's obviously off the table. And a lot of the bars have shut down. So we released the album anyways. And we'll just wait, I guess, for now until we can set up a tour if possible. It's better to do in the summer for us, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no shit. But the album's fucking great, by the way. Like, seriously fucking good, man. Like, the songwriting, the recording, like, the whole production is fucking amazing. So, nice work, by the way. Congrats.
Thanks for you.
But as far as like, where this goes from here, I kind of was thinking about things that we were going to talk about tonight. And just bands and live music in general, where this whole thing goes from here. The fact that so many events are getting like canceled right and left, and never mind just shows, but bands. Anybody who's been in a band understands that like there's a whole bunch of prep that goes into playing live shows and doing tours and shit like that too, right? So if things are uncertain, you know, you're not really, like, you guys are talking about trying to plan something into the summer, but that's kiboshed at the moment because...
Oh, absolutely. It's unrealistic.
Yeah.
I think 2021 is what we're actually planning for, if we're being real here. You know, like, for us, this year's basically a write-off. You know, we're going to maybe do a couple, like, whatever, cam shows or whatever. Not the dirty kind, but you know what I mean? Like, just whatever we can do.
If it pays enough.
Yeah.
Whatever will make money, right?
Yeah, well, even then, you know, we're lucky as artists. We have full-time jobs. You know, we don't rely on this for money. We just do it because it's our hobby. But the worst part is for the artists that actually, you know, like we all know very well that they're just not making it right now because of playing shows is where they made all their money, and now none of them are playing shows or touring, and it's like a tragedy for the art scene almost, you know?
Yeah.
It's the worst thing that could happen for live music, right? Because up to this point, everybody was sort of lamenting the fact that no one sells albums anymore, no one buys music anymore. So it was like, well, hey, bands want to make money, they need to get out there and tour and bring the music to their audiences. And it's like, what the fuck? You get nailed by a pandemic, and now all live shows are completely off the table, right? So what does never mind a small independent band, but really any artist that relies on live shows, right? What do they do?
Yeah, except for like the really the top artists, like I would say like 95% are struggling like right now just to pay the bills. Like It's we played with bands, and the only way they make money is tour. Some tour like 300 days a year. That's the only way they make money. And like Spotify, Apple Music, it's great for people wanting to hear your music, and like we get listens from all over, but it doesn't pay anything. It barely pays to keep it on Spotify. So.
It's a solid investment right there.
It's people love it, and it's nice that like we get listens from like all over the place, and we'll get like we got a message on Instagram the other day. The guys, if you guys after this is over come to Portland, like that stuff's cool. But realistically, like for that one guy in Portland at that show too, it's you gotta play shows, and that's how you make money. And lots of shows. For us, we're never gonna make money at the rate we're going. Like we'd have to have like a solid tour set up, right? So.
But see, this is it's interesting because does this sort of force music and art in general into a corner? Do we wind up in a situation where people need to really innovate, right? Like there's never, not that there hasn't been innovation in music, but it's sort of been a bit of a race to the bottom, right? Like get the cheapest possible production in place so that you can create any kind of margin on whatever music you're selling, and people wanting to pay less and less for their music. Like you can't help but feel that degenerates into cheaper art. So does this sort of force people back into a corner where they have to really start innovating in what they do in their art? Never mind just music, right?
Yeah, you're asking the big questions here, Mickey. I mean, geez.
Early on too.
It's like it's like reinventing the wheel essentially. Like you said, like the only thing I can say as an artist that doesn't make any money off of this, you know, you really want your favorite bands to keep playing. You got to step up to the plate right now too. But it's also hard because not everybody has money to like spend whatever $20 on this guy playing a Facebook show. You know, like.
Not everyone has disposable income right now, but if you do and you care about a band, especially a small band, like anyone that's like not going to be fine in 6 months, then you should be buying their stuff because they might not be able to do this anymore.
No, that's actually true. A lot of them are probably going to have to call it quits on their band just because, hey man, we lost so much money, or I lost the house, I had to get a real job, or you know,
maybe they might have to sell their guitars to pay the rent. Like they're not making any money. You got to think. We played with some bands that they tour all over, and I can't see how they're paying the rent right now because it's like they don't have a digital presence. They're not selling CDs. I've seen a lot of them do online shows, but like that, I don't know how much they're getting because again, a lot of people don't have disposable income to be donating money to musicians. Right now.
How's that saying go? You're playing a $5,000 guitar. And you're driving a $500,000 or a $500 van to get to a venue to play for $20, you know, like that's basically what it is.
So, I guess my question. Perfect.
It's a great pod.
So, like you're saying, some bands might have to pack it up. Which, yeah, like you know, if on the business end, but like, I'm just thinking about it. And this is someone outside of the music scene. Wouldn't it like, yeah, you're saying someone might have to go get a job, you got to make some money because they need money coming in. But like, wouldn't you just be able to just kind of pause for the time being and get back to it after?
Yeah, that's true. You know, a ton of bands do that. They disband for 10 years, like even, or not even, they just play festivals or whatever. And kind of for this certain scenario, what do? The world's basically on pause, right? Like, they could wait a year and like hope for some relief from their government and just start back up where they started off. But you never know what. Nobody knows that things are going to be the same after this either. Right? So,
and every country has different solutions to help people that are struggling. A lot of bands I would imagine don't qualify for like CERB or whatever because you need 5,000 of income. And most of the time, you're getting paid cash at a show,
and it's way less than $5,000.
Yeah, I bet some of these bands are not making that much money. They're getting like gas and like a pizza, you know.
So the band's starting out anyway, that's for sure, and they're all living in an apartment together, you know, sharing a toothbrush.
I envy those people, but at the end of the day, it's nice to sleep in a bed and stuff. Because even like when we go on our like 3 or 4 day show runs, and we're like someone's like, "Oh, you can crash on our couch." Usually by like 11 o'clock, we're like, "Let's just book a hotel, man."
Well, see, I find it interesting that people are talking about like how professional musicians, and I mean, I use that term very loosely because I feel like professional implies that you have figured out a way to sustain yourself with an income that allows you to do this. And, you know, I think it's sort of the situation. You're right about saying that no one knows if it's going to go back to normal at the end of all this, right? That even if they were to open up venues tomorrow, that would you have everybody packing those venues, right? Like there's going to be some kind of lingering effect that we sort of talked about on the podcast before this. But what to me I find might be an interesting moment here is seeing people rethink the arts and music as a profession in general, right? Mm-hmm. Like I remember I saw an interview with Chris Hanna from Propaganda, and the interviewer was like talking to him about, are you guys like, how do you guys feel about the fact that nobody pays for music anymore and blah blah blah, and the guy just basically went like, oh, we're not worried, like we're still gonna be in the jam room every day at 2:00. It's like there could be $100,000 coming in, or there could be $0 coming in. We're still going to be doing that, and then making money, and then creating music, and then if we got to make a record every 10 years, because that's how long it takes us to scrounge together the money to make a record, that's how long it's going to take us to make a record, right? And then we'll put it out, and you know, if there are ways, if people want to pay us for it, they will, and if not, then we won't make any money. And I guess this sort of adds another layer to that, right? If there are no shows to play, and sure, you can't make money, but it doesn't mean you can't make music.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We've had challenges just like we can't jam together, right? So, like, 2 of our members are still working, and like, I don't want to break the social distancing rules. Even like band stuff, like you're always spitting on each other, so
that's true.
It's probably the worst place. And like,
at least your band does.
Yeah.
That's before they start playing.
Yeah.
It's funny that you bring that up though. Like we've all been to those small punk shows and like the mosh pit. You know what I mean? We're all pushing each other, and you want to get in there, get sweaty, rub up against people. It's just our lifestyle now, you know. And what's going to be after this? You know, is everybody going to be wearing masks or like?
Moshing is going to be outlawed then.
Suits, like
outlawed.
Outlawed.
Yeah, I saw it.
Stage diving and moshing. That's going the way of the dodo after this.
Yeah. Saw it in the Hard Times. It's a hard-hitting journalist, you know.
Oh, true stories.
That website is golden, man. Like, sometimes you only need to read the headlines in there.
The headline, you don't even have to read the story. The best.
Don't waste your time with the story.
The stories aren't great. No,
you save your time and just read the headline. That's everything you need to say.
My favorite one is punk rock dead? And they ask a Bernese Mountain Dog, and the Bernese Mountain Dog's like, "What would I know? I'm a Bernese Mountain Dog." That's it. That's the whole story. There's nothing in the article.
Well, it's me the funniest one I saw. Sorry, just bringing this up. It's a guy and he's doing a circle pit, and he's like, "Everybody back that shit up." And then it says, "I thought he was a real asshole, but then I heard the quacking." And somebody like cropped in a bunch of little ducklings walking through the mosh pit. You're like, oh, that's fucking hilarious.
Yes, good sight. But back to the point we were making, because we were clearly having a very serious conversation here about the future
we're about
of the
to have a
arts.
serious conversation there, I think.
Yeah, we get sidetracked very easily.
That's perfectly fine.
Wow,
just like last time. Well, last time you guys were on the podcast, you fucking drank all my booze here. Which is...
You kicked us out, McGee.
You kicked us out. I gotta work tomorrow. What?
My daughter's
beer
sleeping.
And bullshit.
My daughter's sleeping. What kind of excuse is that?
That's exactly what it was. But and quite frankly, the reason why we've been doing these every week for 7 weeks now, straight, and not taking any breaks, is because I don't have to kick people out of my house anymore.
You can just close your computer now.
Yeah, it's like, see you guys later. Thank God I don't have to talk to those guys anymore. So
just so alone.
So tell us about you were talking about you guys released an album. You're getting you sort of had this idea for a tour planned out east, and then this bullshit hits, and this all gets completely kiboshed. So tell us a little bit about what you were hoping to do and what maybe you're hoping to do in the future now, like as a, I guess maybe eventual support for this album or maybe the next one.
Yeah.
You want me to take this one, bud?
Give her, man.
You give her, man. All right. Anyway, this is good. Let me take a moment to say our official beer sponsor, Compass Brewery. They haven't made it official, but I've been telling everyone.
No free ads, dude.
Hawking shit on our podcast. You know I'm gonna pixelate that out, eh? This episode is brought to you by
Oh, you're gonna
Food.
have to
my
pixelate
God.
a lot of stuff.
Foaming.
You're gonna be pixelating a lot of stuff by the end of this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's quite delicious. Anyway, great beer. Yeah. So what happened is, Jesus, we wanted to go out east and do something like 10 shows, just to promote our album, all that stuff. And we played a show with the Motor League last year, and our drummer got a hold of him. I think it was the bass player he got a hold of. And he gave us a ton of contacts, just a ton of contacts. Such nice people, man. Like the East Coasters were great. We started booking shows left, right, and center. We had about, well, maybe not left, right, and center, just center. Anyway, we had about 5 shows booked. And then after about 2 weeks, I think it was March 12th and 13th, that was like the first weekend shit started really hitting the fan. And then we were booking shows out east, and bars started contacting us about the beginning of April, saying, you know what, we have to close the doors because we're going bankrupt, and we're not reopening. And then about 3 bars contacted us initially, and another one just contacted us last week to cancel another one of our shows. So it's like, what do you do now? Even festivals, they're all being postponed, and a lot of those artsy bars are not going to be reopening after this, which is for the art scene, it's a bit of a tragedy, but when the demand opens back up, hopefully someone steps up to the plate. But right now it's just a real tough thing. And even us, our plan was to go out east and really promote ourselves or just have a good time. And when you get all those emails and stuff, after we had contacted other bands over there that we were going to play with and all this stuff, and everything got put on the back burner for now. So we're basically on pause till realistically, let's stay hopeful, and we maybe would like to play some shows this year, maybe even a Boxing Day show or something. But I don't think we'll be able to do something like that until next summer.
Yeah. I just wonder what the distancing rules are going to be in places like that, right? So that even, you get you're successful enough in getting a crowd into a place. How do people keep their 6 feet, right? In a place like that?
And bars are probably the least essential thing. I mean, everything. I mean, everything in Ontario was essential except bars and restaurants, basically. So, that's the only thing we didn't deem essential was basically bars and restaurants.
Well, people can eat and drink at home, I guess, and
Well,
even if they open up a bar, who's to say that all the people that would go are going to feel comfortable going to a bar where you have, let's say, 100 people crammed in to this small area? At the Vic, it's really a small area in front of the stage. If we were to play a show there, there's no way you're going to have people 6 feet apart. And if that is that something we want to play, it kind of kills the vibe of it.
Yeah. So it's kind of a depressing note to be talking about. Talking about live music, eh? And I don't know. I'm just like a blind optimist for this kind of stuff, but I feel like the really truly creative people this is their time to shine, right? It's like you figure out ways to entertain people and people. You figure out ways that people really appreciate what you do. Now, it doesn't necessarily translate into financial gain, but it creates some kind of scene, right? We don't necessarily have to be all within the same 10 square feet to sort of feel like we're all part of something, right?
Yeah. The live shows on Facebook and YouTube and all that, they've been great, but it's not the same. I love being at a show and the music's pumping and you can feel it and there's just an energy. It's hard. Like I'll watch Frank Turner, but like we went to the same Frank Turner show like 2 days apart. Man, like just being there versus watching him live, it's not the same. It was like amazing live, and then you're like sitting there on your couch and you're just like, it's just not the same.
Well, I've been telling all the people around me to invest heavily in VR. This is
For the board, right?
This is the future of live music.
Beer? VR? Beer?
No, VR.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
VR. I heard VR. I was like, is he just really shortening beer? Like, are we dropping the 2 E's? Because I'm down. I'm down.
No,
Beer takes way too long to say.
It's really been a waste of my time.
No, but imagine that, right? Like you go anywhere from the comfort of your own home. Like I know that before all this started, was it the NBA that was like, I know professional sports was sort of toying with this idea, and I think the NBA had already had like some VR like 360 cameras set up at courtside, and you could actually like put on a VR headset and it would be like you're there, right? And clearly that technology's got a ways to go before it becomes something that's a true like simulation, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, even there, if like that, there's some kind of way with like haptics and good sound and everything to simulate you being somewhere.
Yeah.
Might not be the same thing, but could be a second best, right?
Yeah.
I still want to be optimistic and be like, you know what? When this is all over, I just want things to be back to the way they were. Like, I don't want there to be a new normal. Like, obviously, some things will change, but like, come on, why can't we just go to a damn arena and sit next to some stranger and like fucking get drunk and have a good time, or not even, it doesn't have to be about booze or whatever, but just I just want to be optimistic and saying that fuck, I hope it goes back to the way it was. You know, like
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are thinking that way, and I think there's a chance of it going back to normal for the majority of people.
Yeah.
If this doesn't become something that's like sort of recurring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like right now we're sort of getting a feeling that we're all going to sort of get back to a little bit of our normal lives. There'll be some people that sort of linger in the back and say, I'm not taking my chances. But in general, most people are going to want to get back to doing their normal activities.
Oh, yeah.
But what happens if this, we get told, hey, listen, we're seeing clusters and outbreaks, and we need people to get back into their houses again, and we're going to start canceling big things, closing up establishments that we thought were going to remain open. It'll become a little bit more of something that's in people's minds or day-to-day thinking, right? And that's where it becomes more of a persisting problem.
Oh yeah, it's gonna. Everybody's well aware that it's coming in waves, right? Like you get your first wave, then your second wave, third wave. Time's gonna tell. Right?
Are we at the pool? I love a good wave pool. I love a good wave pool.
I'm kind of upset no one's wearing a bathing suit.
I thought the third wave came after the first wave, though. But I'm glad that you outlined that like sequentially, that we knew.
You're welcome. To clarify that, I haven't done the math. You might actually be right on that one, McGee. But let's hope the second comes before the third.
Well, you guys talked about jamming remotely. This has been something that's been like a pain in my ass for a long time as a person who's had a bass player that's worked at remote work sites for for quite a while.
Believe us, we had 3 contractors at one point too, where everyone was in a different town except for our lovely financial advisor right there. Takes care of all the money, so that's what really mattered.
Oh, so you guys are fine with talking about where you work then? So that's cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, so we had 3 guys out of town too. You know, consider yourself lucky. You only had 1.
It's hard, man.
First world problems.
We've now Nathan and Steph both work in town, and Monday to Thursday, or depending, like Nathan switches, but Monday to Thursday basically. So we're just dependent on Eric. But it actually made it harder to book stuff because he's on like some weird rotation where he works like Wednesday to Wednesday. And then we're trying to book stuff. So like every second weekend, we can't, even if he takes a week off, we don't really get that much because of the way the other weeks work. So
but
it's tough.
have you guys looked into doing like remote rehearsals? Because this is where I get excited about this kind of stuff, right? Like people are forced to stay at home, so creative people get creative, and they start using the technology that exists to start developing stuff to get around some of these barriers, right? And to me, like there's I've seen services that exist out there that say that you can jam remotely. Do they work? Do they not work? Like I think you have to have people really take the time to try them out. There's some people that seem to have a lot of success with things like services like Jam Kazam. I know you were mentioning one the other day, Darcy.
I thought it was that one.
Was it Jam Kazam? Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I was trying to figure it out too, but Nathan didn't have a computer at the time, but he's getting it set up now, and then
hey, it's set up, dude. I already did it.
So we need we would need 3 more like interfaces, I guess, because Nathan has the interface that we use. So it's a lot of work. I was like, by the time we get all the stuff, this might be over, but so far it's not over. So
no, but just think of how easy it makes you figure this out. Think of how easy it makes your rehearsals in the future as well, right?
We live in a small town, man. I would much rather jam and like have a beer with the boys and Nathan yell at us. Then have to do it like virtually. I would just mute him and I would never get better. I would just mute him. I'd be like, I think he's angry, but I can't hear him.
No, I'm a pretty grumpy fuck sometimes in practice. All right, there, it's out there.
So we're getting the
guys
insights.
are cool with it.
We're getting insights as to what all the wasted years jam.
Sometimes you just gotta set the boys straight. You say, hey man, you know what? Tighten up that vocals. Your fucking palm, you'd sound like shit, and fucking Steph stay on time. Wow. That's basically how it goes. You know.
He does yell at Steph the most, and he's the best one out of all of us.
Oh yeah, Steph.
He's so hard on.
But you gotta be hard on your best fucking guy. You know what I mean?
Listen,
you gotta make our drummer feel like he's not worthy of being in another band, right?
No. You put him down. You never build him up. You never tell him anything positive.
Jay, have you noticed that since the last time these guys were on the podcast, they've gotten to be quite elitist in their tone about how seriously they take their music? Because they go and record 2 albums that sound amazing, and now suddenly it's like, well, you got to start playing a little tighter, a little bit more on. You got to tighten up that downbeat there, Steph.
Oh, dude, this has been going on for so long. It started off when we didn't even tune, and then we were like, "Hey guys, it sounds like shit. We need to get tuners." So we get tuners, and then it's like, "Oh, we got to tune between every song." What the hell? I thought it was like once a practice, you know?
Yeah.
Once a week.
No.
We were actually
once a week.
Yeah,
New
we were
strings,
just talking.
Man, if it doesn't break, you don't change the strings.
Remember that album you did for us like way back in the day in like 2010?
Yeah.
We did like 3 songs.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about this the other day, and our drummer at the time got a brand new set of drums, and they were like so out of tune. And he starts playing them, and we're like, dude, these sound like shit. Like there's something wrong. And
Get
like, we don't know. So he's like, no, man, that's just what new drums sound like. I'm like, your old drum sounded better. So he like refused. Nathan went and bought like a little drum tuner, like the tensioner thing, and tuned the drums without him knowing, and they sounded like so much better. He was so stubborn about it too.
They just got better over time. We got to wear them in.
It's like fine wine.
It's like foreskin, you know.
I still have those recordings, and they're so like it's so like different from what we're at now. And I'm like, oh man, we were so fucking bad. Can't believe we played in front of people.
No, you guys are all right.
Dude, remember that one show? Like McGee came up to us after, and he's like, "That was entertaining." You know, he played a bad fucking
you know that's
show.
bad.
He comes up to you and he's like, "Yo, that was just good to watch. That was just like, you know." I'm glad I was there for that.
I don't remember saying that, but
you said it.
It sounds like something I'd say, you know. The eternal.
Well, to be honest, we sucked out loud that show. Like we all got fucking dishammered. It It was a catastrophe.
But you guys, like, talk to me a little bit more about this process. You guys have been working for the past this last album and the one before. You guys have been working with a producer down south, and obviously this person is a competent guy when it comes to making records. And it sounded like both albums sounded amazing. And I just wanted to know a little bit more about that process. Like, first of all, how'd you guys get in touch with? It's Anton, right? Anton Lost.
Yeah.
Tinto.
Yeah, Tinto.
Tinto freshman.
No free ads either. No free ads for him either.
Okay, no free ads. We're gonna bleep out his name.
His alias Tinto freshman.
Well, how'd you guys get hooked up with him?
He produced Bearings album, and I guess Steph's mother-in-law was working with the mother-in-law of the Bearings singer at the time or something like that. So that's how she was like, oh, they just produced an album. She showed him. Steph's like, this is awesome. So he just reached out, and when we were on tour a few years, like 4 years ago, I guess, and we stopped by, and he gave us the spiel, and we're like, yeah, we'd like to work with you. So pretty much it.
Nice. Okay, and then you guys basically like set something up with him and like worked out a schedule, or?
Let me tell you what first happened. We tried to record our stuff on our own, and we're like, hey, we thought it was as simple as sending off our tracks to an audio engineer, and he would make everything sound great. And we're like, you just send this shit to him, and he'll make it work. Like that's what we really thought. That's what we truly thought. So we sent him actually one of our songs, "Take Me Home," and then he sent us this huge email, like I don't know, like a 4-pager. Like, you know what? You ever see like a guy that's really in trouble with his girlfriend? That's what it was like. It was just like 4 pages of like whatever. And he's like, yo, like the guitars are out of phase. I can't even hear the bass. Everything's off time. And he's like, the only way I can give you a product that you want is you have to come to the studio and do it here. And then we were like, then we all pulled our cash together and we were like, okay, let's do this. Because clearly we're not capable of doing it on our own. Well, you've worked with our tracks before, McGee. We don't give you much to work with, but you've done a hell of a job with what we've given you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he's wrong on that. I think you can polish a turd.
You can get people to pay you to work with their shit.
Yeah.
Oh God, no, that's cool. That's cool. And like what both albums that you guys did with him sound amazing, and like. I gotta say, the playing is fucking stellar, man. Like some of these tracks on the last album, well, this album here, I'm Fine, by the way, go check it out on anywhere, right? All the streaming services.
Anywhere.com.
It's fucking out there. You just search on Fine, it's gonna show up eventually.
Yeah. No free ads either. Cut that out.
Okay, yeah, bleep that out. All right. It's all right. You're paying us to be on here, right? Maybe the first time this podcast turns a profit too. So
I guess you're using our song for free. Right?
That's right. That's right.
I haven't seen any royalties from that.
The voice of beer and bullshit. This is like these guys.
No, we've sent you 15% of what we made.
Do we owe you money too?
That's right.
You guys want to share an at-why? We could send you 15% of what we made. You'll be in the reds probably like 10 grand.
It's got to be more than that.
It's like
no, just them if they get 15%.
It's like government debt. We just owe it to ourselves, right, Jay?
Yeah, pretty much.
But no, go ahead, Jay. Yeah.
Okay. Or you can keep just talking. Keep talking.
It's okay. I'm talking too much.
I want to hear the sultry, sexy voice of Jay.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, show us your penis.
Autistic voice. When you released an album, like, is there a strategy on trying to get try and get traction out there just with Joe Public? Like, do you because I always thought with stuff like Apple Music and whatever, Spotify, it's almost impossible to get your name out there without people knowing who you are. Is there a way to kind of push you up in the rankings? Are there set strategies to getting your name out there?
I'm going to leave
So-
this one to Darcy.
Yeah, I've done a lot of research on this, and
I'm actually going to go take a piss.
no, so there's really no way to like gain traction without getting like lucky, or
Okay.
like you can buy your way onto some playlists that are not from Spotify. So like there's like Spotify playlists where like someone has like 50,000 followers on their playlist. Someone will like contact that person and say, "I'll give you, $5,000. Put my track on there." So
Okay.
that's stuff that people do, but like I don't see the benefit of buying listens and stuff like that, because we've met people that are like, "Oh yeah, here's my Spotify. He's got like 3 followers and like 100,000 listens." It's like, how does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
we have 150 followers and way less listens than this guy. So people know when it's like you're like a phony. You just basically got to get lucky and get traction.
Okay.
Sharing it on the right thing. Like one time I got lucky with Reddit and I got like 500 new listeners in one day from Reddit just by sharing the album. So like stuff like that. But out of those 500, maybe 10 stayed. So you really need to get a lot of people on.
Yeah.
So it's really tough. The biggest thing is just playing shows. We get way more traction like when we play a show and someone's like, "Oh, that's awesome. I love that song." And then that's how we get it. But that's a timely process, right?
So you've answered shows that are the way to go. Okay. Still stepping back. Of all the platforms, because I've been like kind of looking at different bands and seeing like larger bands, big popular things, like the LaForges.
Ooh.
No, I'm kidding.
The LaForges?
The LaForges of the world, the real
The
bands.
LaForges, those guys.
Oh,
No,
okay.
but like of the digital platforms, what is monetarily what's the best bet to go for? Because I've heard that like Apple you get nothing from it compared to other ones. Like what are the music services that would pay out the best for?
They're all pretty
question.
terrible. YouTube's the worst.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
YouTube Music or whatever, they're the absolute worst. Spotify, we've done okay, but it's more because we have that's our biggest volume. It's like, and then Apple Music's our second. We have other ones like random people that have Deezer or like all these other Tidal that will get some from there. I think you get more from those, and that's how they try to get more artists that way. But like realistically, the most money we make is from Bandcamp if we look at like per purchase, but we don't sell that much on Bandcamp. So
Okay.
But that's the thing is nobody sells anything period anymore. Like unless maybe you're selling merch, but you've got to be selling merch at a show.
yeah.
Right? Like, I guess you could sell merch online, but like, when was the last time somebody placed an online order for fucking, for an Atwise shirt? I don't know. You might be able to answer that.
We've had it. We don't have anything set up, but we've had people e-transfer me and I've shipped them stuff. And I typically, we basically take a loss on it because I feel bad charging people for shipping because we're not really set up. So we end up paying more for shipping because I think it's like if you have like a larger shipping facility that you end up paying less. So we're like, our shipping cost is like, I go to Canada Post, I'm like, how much does this cost? And they're like $10. I'm like, oh, that sucks.
There goes all our profit.
So like I usually don't, I just do it for like, just to help people out. I won't charge them. We'll just break even. And like, honestly, we don't make that much money on merch.
And that used to be the adage, right? Is like, this is, and I guess we're talking as people who don't really do this full time, or like it's not really some kind of profession, but it was nice. Look at you, fucking trader,
What do you mean?
flashing a
I'm
full beer
supporting
can.
all local breweries right now.
All right, well, not your sponsor.
I'm a patriot. I'm a patriot.
Muskoka.
This is my right.
Oh, Jesus. He's going to start walking around with a fucking assault rifle, too. They're in a yellow vest.
You need one. You need one. If you can't protect yourself, Mickey, come on.
Are we getting political already?
Already.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we'll save that for a little later. But
If I had my rifle, I'd go to your house right now, Mickey.
Oh God.
keep 6 feet away, though.
Obviously, bro.
But we're talking about music, like music as it's a profession, but like people always kind of looked at their music itself, like their recorded music, as a calling card to the show, right? So like you put out music so that people would hear about you, and then they'd be like, oh fuck, that band's sick, like they're coming through my town, so I'm gonna go check that out, like I came across their music on social media and they've got a show coming up here, so I'm gonna go see them. But like, clearly right now at this moment that's not happening. It's questionable into the future. So again, what other revenue streams are there for for artists, right? Like where do you start creating profit margins?
Yeah, I got ideas. Prostitution. No, really, I don't have the answer. If I did, we'd be millionaires and we wouldn't be talking to you. We'd be figuring this out on our own, right?
You mean you wouldn't come on the Beer Bullshit podcast?
I'm like, LaForge, do you want to join our new label? No. Basically, you need to. I think radio is still big, and getting on Spotify playlists. That's like the biggest thing. If you can get on like curated punk playlist, there's so many listeners on there that you will get discovered. And I mean, I don't know how you get on those lists. I've tried. They have a thing where you can sign up. You put the song in before it's released. They never answer you. So I don't know how it works.
Yeah, but you said those two magic words there, like you'll get discovered. But get discovered, like what does that even mean today? Like it used to mean that you get discovered and a record label would throw a bunch of money at you so you could go live in a studio for a year and make a fucking awesome album, right? Now it's like you got to make the album first.
Yeah.
And you got to fork out all the money, and then you'll get discovered by a 13-year-old with no money on Spotify.
Yeah, but so you're making with Spotify, it's all about numbers. So it's like just about getting like volume. So even if they don't buy anything, if you're just getting listens from premium users or people who are getting the ad revenue, that's how you're making money. So like little Johnny, who was 13 years old, didn't buy your album, but he listened to it 100 times and he told all his friends who listened to it and so on. The issue is that little Johnny doesn't listen to punk rock. So we're kind of screwed there.
We're due for a resurgence. I don't know.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 and 1 is coming out, so that's the resurgence.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Dude, I hope they have the same soundtrack. They better have the same soundtrack.
They already said same soundtrack.
Remastered.
Yep.
Yes.
That's classic rock. Well, you know what? They got to preach to like the fucking people that are going to play it, like us, fucking 30-year-olds there, not these little punk kids. They're going to be like, oh, this game's so like, look at the graphics. They're shit. Well, I mean, I guess they're redoing the graphics.
It'll be remastered,
yeah.
If you go back and look at the soundtracks, though, it's crazy looking. Like, I literally did this just a few weeks ago. 1 and 2 had like 10-song soundtracks because they were on the PS1. So it was a CD with, and it only played so much songs. And then like the latest ones, like the last few, are like 40 songs. Like,
yeah.
It's like, okay, it makes sense. Yeah, they can fit more on the Blu-ray than they can on
no
the first CD, the blue CD.
Yeah.
There was also a video game on that CD.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
now you can just download it, like, the game will be as big as whatever, and you just fucking download it and stream the fucking game or whatever.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a whole new generation getting into Superman, though. So that's
that's true. Those kids need to hear that because that's a damn good song.
No, we should do a Twitch stream when it comes out there. At Y versus LaForge, who can get the highest score?
Oh,
buddy.
All right, well,
poor LaForge.
Yeah, poor LaForge. We're a bunch of gamers.
Is that what you guys been doing in this?
I know the cheats.
You know the cheats. So other than that, I think what did we have prepared here tonight for these guys, Jay?
Well, I wasn't saying anything for first few minutes because I was like, well, I should figure something out. So I did something that we haven't done in a while, and I think probably since the last time you guys been on. It was a Rotten Tomatoes game.
Yes,
okay,
Rotten Tomatoes.
So I did find a Rotten Tomatoes, a couple things for Rotten Tomatoes. So if you guys want to do a Rotten Tomatoes game, we can totally do that.
Before we do that, Jay, though, The only thing is we should talk about what we're drinking tonight. So I'm gonna go get myself another beer before we do this, and you guys talk about what you're drinking first.
You know, Darcy and Jay, you guys go first because I'm gonna take one more piss, and then I'm gonna fucking whip my dick out. You know?
Smooth. This is awesome. Great pod. Go ahead, Darce. What are you drinking there tonight?
All right, so far I'm on my second beer here, but my first one is a delicious pineapple IPA from Hops and Robbers. If you haven't had this,
All right.
check this out. It's delicious. It's awesome. I got it from Yigs, which has a great selection of beer now.
Actually, it's not too bad. I know you're actually right.
And now I'm on a dry hop sour from Side Launch, and this is also really good. I've had this before, but
Cylon's really pretty solid. Collingwood, right?
Yeah, Collingwood.
Yeah.
Where'd Nathan go? He just peace out.
For another piss.
Yeah, he's done. He's done.
He said, "I'm done with this." We
He
talked
has
about
lead singer syndrome or whatever.
I see
lead
that.
singer disorder, LSD.
Well, I'm drinking the new passion fruit sour from Full Beard. I just killed this one, so I'm going to have to go get a second one in a second. But yeah, actually, a pretty solid, not too bad. So yeah, this week was the Full Beard order. Next week will be back to Compass. So keep week after week. Every time I kill my 2-4.
Yeah. How is on the scale for Twisted Whiskers? Which one is that, like up high, or do you like the other ones?
This one isn't too bad. The last one I wasn't crazy, but I can't remember what the last one was because this one is the passion fruit.
The other one was the plum.
The plum. I wasn't crazy about the plum.
Sugar plum.
The strawberry one was good, but I have something with like the lactose they use in it, and it makes my stomach like rock hard, so I can't drink it anymore. But it's honestly like one of my favorite beers from there, and I can't drink it.
When they screwed up when they were supposed to do the first strawberry sour, they made the Oops Berry instead. That was honestly, I still think my favorite beer from them.
Oh yeah, right on.
Because they were supposed to make a sour. They were making the ale on the side. I think it was the 705 or whatever they're making on the side, and they were pouring in the pureed, and they realized we put it in the wrong batch. And they're like, well, let's go with it, and it was awesome.
It turned out
I would
good.
do that all the time. I don't know how they do stuff.
The sours at Full Beard have been great. Like I'm also drinking the Twisted Whiskers passion fruit sour. It's delicious, and the one that I enjoyed the most was the Heart of Gold. I think it's their dry hop sour, if I'm not
Okay, yeah.
mistaken.
So that's what I'm drinking right now. I love a dry hop sour.
Good, real good.
I like the Anything Goes from Compass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's another good one.
Tightest piss fucking sour, boys. You know what I'm saying?
Delish.
Anyway,
What are you drinking?
I'm throwing out my beers real quick there. Let's fucking not make it short and sweet. You know what I mean? A Polar Day. Boom. Polar Day.
That's
Compass
good stuff.
Brewery. I had two of those, and now I'm getting into this fucking Full Beard beer that's been in my fridge for quite some time. Sinful Breakfast. It's like a cinnamon bun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that shit?
Yeah.
You remember it.
Yeah. You know what's funny about this beer and bullshit is we brought our own beer this time, and last time we had to drink whiskey.
That's true.
You ran out of beer.
I ran out of beer. That has never happened on Beer and Bullshit. Ever. It didn't happen before and hasn't happened since.
Well, I bet you now you buy way more beer.
Yeah, true.
Well, I mean, now I don't have to give any to anyone. So
well, that's true. But like pre-COVID, you know,
pre-COVID, yeah, that's probably true because
you don't want to be that guy that has a beer podcast and runs out of beer. You know?
I just remember the scene of it there. Nathan putting his big fucking slippers up on my bar and going, "Hey, McGee, mind if I get into that whiskey?" The fuck, man. Like, and we were done recording.
I don't know. I don't remember that part.
You know what? It's fair. It's fair. Yeah, it sounds like me. I'm not gonna deter you and say you're a liar, but goddamn, McGee, why do you gotta tell the fans that? You know?
That's all right. No, that's the appeal of your type of music, right? It's that it's honest. It's transparent. You're giving people your real selves.
Every now and then I beg my buddies for whiskey, you know? It's not a big deal.
So Jay, tell us about this game that you got for us.
All right. So and once again, I almost have to remember the rules for this. So the Rotten Tomatoes game, I decided to make this one all about music movies.
Music movies. Nice.
Yeah, so about bands or
Were
music
you
in
putting
general.
this all together, Jay? Were you putting this all together while we were having our little chats there? Or?
Oh yeah, I was just like, I
Yeah.
should do something. So I literally
No,
just. I was
That's a
typing,
productive motherfucker right there. This guy, you watch him.
Multitasker.
So the game is these are by the Rotten Tomato scores, by the critic scores, not audience scores. So go by the critic scores. The closest two by the end, with whoever's the lowest score, like so essentially golf score, wins. If you get it dead on the money, you get I believe it's a 5-point swing, 5-point deduction.
Oh shit!
So yeah, so we are going to do the band's Rotten Tomatoes game. So the first song we're going to go with, I'll give the description of it first. A spoof about a filmmaker making a documentary about a once famous, now almost forgotten British heavy metal band returns to the United States after 17 years for a concert tour. The movie is This Is Spinal Tap.
Goes to 11. Yes.
Imagine
Well,
11 is the score. Imagine that, guys.
Oh my goodness! Okay, everybody see 11.
Who gets to go first? Are we taking turns?
Yeah. We'll let the
We're-
guests go first.
Yeah, so
You guys
Nathan
get to
first.
decide.
Okay, on 4.62. Or is there like how far does this go?
Out of 100.
Out of 100?
100 being high.
Okay. Yeah. It's percent. Here we go. Okay. 4.62. It doesn't go to 462%. Let me figure this out.
46%.
46.
You
46.
went
It's
46.
time, but I'm glad we got there.
Oh,
Right.
All right, Darcy.
I'll go 73%.
Oh, what a douchebag.
3.
73.
McGee.
Oh, it's a good movie. I think it was. We're going by all critics, or sorry. What was the rules again? I forgot.
We're going by
not listening.
by critic scores. The top critics.
Critics scores. Was this a darling of the critics? This is Spinal Tap. I'm
That's
gonna
a question.
say 84.
Oh, I don't think
84.
Damn, that's ambitious, bro.
So we're pretty everywhere right now on these scores. 1 second.
Varying opinions on the merits of Spinal Tap.
So Spinal Tap, with the critics, is certified fresh, which has to be, I think, 75 and up or something like that. Give or
Oh
take.
man, I'm fucked.
95.
Wow.
Wow.
Damn.
Well, I'm gonna have to watch it
People like
again
that
because it's
fucking
that good.
Okay, so I'm out for the rest of the game.
Okay,
All
no,
right.
but just to give it context, apparently Rotten Tomatoes gave Tiger King a 98% rating.
Yeah, they're
People
a little.
love that shit though. People love that.
Yeah, that was
crap.
completely made up, by the way. That just saying.
I would give Tiger King a 98%.
I would give it one boner up. That's it. Like I don't even know how to rate it. Gay
One
guys,
tiger
men,
boner up?
tigers.
You know
All
what?
right, so-
But before we move on to the next one, I gotta say that I'm not sure what it says about my personality when I think of like what I've been watching during this quarantine. Because obviously gonna watch more Netflix, right? But at first I was like, holy shit, I'm super into this Tiger King documentary, right? And then now I'm like really into The Last Dance, watching the Jordan documentary, which
I only watched
Oh,
the first two, but it was good.
to me are not comparable. You know, these are not comparable cinematic achievements here. Like,
I've been all over too. I watched that, and then I was like ordering from Amazon because I needed something and I could only get it there. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get Prime. And I'm like, that Jack Ryan show looks pretty good.
Yep.
So then I watched all of Jack Ryan. I'm like, this is actually awesome. And like Jim is pretty badass when he left The Office.
Wow.
But he's just
Okay,
narrowing.
so note to self: I gotta watch Jack Ryan.
Yeah, and then I started watching like Parks and Recs again, and then I watched The Office a
good
bit.
show.
So I'm all over the place. So.
Oh yeah. No, it's a mess out there. It's a mess of streaming. Like honestly,
There's a lot of.
it's hard to keep track of what I'm watching in a day. You know, it's really it's tough. It's tough times for TV because I don't even know what's going on. I just click it and I watch it till it ends up being on Pornhub. You know, it's wild.
So what do we got next, Jay?
All right, the next one. Sick and tired of being ignored by record industry executives. 3. Non-too-bright heavy metal musicians taking local radio station hostage to demand airplay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This broad comedy lampoons both the music world and police hostage drama as it depicts musicians' quest for freedom and a record deal. The movie is Airheads.
Yes, Adam Sandler.
I think McGee has to go first because he's winning right now, right? Is that how
That's
All
right.
Let's go McGee first.
That's right. Okay, so
Go with your cock.
Airheads. It's got to be certified fresh. So I'm gonna say but I don't know that it's quite at the Spinal Tap level. So I'm gonna go ahead and say 78.
78. All right.
Is that me? I'm
Let's
just gonna
go.
say
Let's go Darcy next.
Oh, okay. Ouch, that hurts. But let's
That
do it.
But
that
let's-
movie was funny to me, but I also think that critics would probably hate it. You know?
Nah.
So I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 69, which is basically 100.
It's 100 in my books. Okay, so
All
I have no fucking clue what this movie is. Never seen it.
You never seen
Never
Airheads?
seen Airheads.
Dude, you gotta watch
Yeah,
it.
I'm
It's
sorry,
actually
I'm gonna watch
it's
it.
hilarious.
Clearly, yo. After we hang this shit up, I'm gonna go watch it. Okay, so everybody got my back. But I'm just gonna hit it like 86. That's the number I want.
86. That's a fucking. Just so you know, Schindler's List got an 84.
Stop making stuff up.
Oh,
Airheads is rotten at 21%.
oh, Jesus.
Fuck.
Okay, yo.
I was close,
You're closer, yeah.
but I knew that. I knew it. I should have went lower.
All right, so this next one, recently released, is a foot-stomping celebration of Queen and their music and their extraordinary lead singer, Freddie Mercury. The movie, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
That one's gonna hit high. I think we're hitting the gas. Oh,
Dude,
wait. Who got the? Darcy got the best. So you
Yeah.
gotta go
So
first.
Darcy gets to go first.
I'm gonna give it a 93.
Damn, son.
I'm giving it a 93, okay.
Yeah, I feel like people, like critics, really liked it. It sounds bad to say, but I preferred Airheads. Just saying. But it wasn't a bad movie. 82.
82?
Yeah.
All right.
You know what?
And
I'm just gonna give her and say like a 97. Boom, done.
Done. Lock it in, Regis.
Done. Lock it in.
Regis. That's my final answer.
Holy shit! I forgot he did that.
Yeah, you did.
Is he
Regis.
still alive?
Must be.
Probably not. Oh wait, yes.
He's back.
I agree with Jay. I feel like he knows things. So
Yeah. He has Regis on Twitter.
One
Regis is
sec.
still
I
alive.
just realized I screwed something up here. All right. So, Bohemian Rhapsody, which did it win an Oscar? It did. It won
some Oscars.
I think it won an Oscar for Best Actor. Anyways, this is rated. It is fresh at 60%.
Oh my
Oh.
goodness.
That's weak.
But that's
Yeah, I
not
know.
certified fresh. Certified
Not
fresh is
certified.
order. Okay, so what do we know
Fresh
the
is
criteria?
like something in your fridge that you're like, you smell, you're like,
Eh,
it's past the expiry, but I could still eat it.
I should eat it.
Yeah.
I should eat it now.
Like a yogurt.
I couldn't-
Yogurt,
I don't wanna
yogurt
base-
sometimes
I don't wanna
goes over
base-
the expiry date and you still eat it, you know? That's what a fresh is.
Oh yeah, yogurt doesn't expire. That's a myth. Everyone out there, I'd like you to know. Everyone watching this podcast, yogurt doesn't expire.
You just got to scrape the fur off the top. That's all.
All right, so
He knows.
Who we got next?
the difference. Sorry, the difference between in the tomato reading rankings, rotten is 0 to 59%. Fresh is 60 to 100, but to get certified fresh, you have to have at least 40 critic scores.
Okay, so it can't just be randos.
Or sorry, 80 critic scores with something being whatever. But yeah, so you have enough critics to rate it to give it a certified fresh, but essentially anything above 60 is fresh.
Gotcha.
Anyways.
Okay. All right.
All right, so
Now we have context, so clearly I'm going to run away with this.
gone. So the next one. Did I skip one? Nope. Okay. The next one is, once again, another music one. This one released in 2019. Is an epic musical fantasy about the incredible human story of Elton John, Rocket
Man?
Rocket Man.
Okay, I only heard Rocket.
Rocket Man.
Yeah, I actually did only hear Rocket too, but it's all good.
It's all good. Didn't he
It's all
sing
good.
Piano Man too?
Yeah, guy? Isn't that
No.
guy?
Did not play piano.
No, that was not him.
Just a small town girl. That's Elton John. Right?
I feel like that movie didn't really get a whole lot of attention. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe I was living under a rock when it came out, but I felt like I saw the previews for it, and then I saw it on Amazon.
Yeah, so I had someone tell me.
I felt like I could make a better movie myself.
I had someone tell me, and I quote, he said, "It's a great music, and I love the music, but I could do without all the kissing."
What?
And I was like, okay, thank you for that. Apparently, there's a lot of
Super homophobe.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen it yet. I do want to watch it because I love Elton John, and I actually went to see Elton Ron, who's his impersonator, at Terrio.
There really is somebody named Elton Ron. That's the...
Dude, I swear to God, look him up. It was actually really entertaining. My gummy kicked in halfway through, so that helped. But
That's right. That's right. Like all of Canada is stoned right now because they can't fucking deal with this shit. So it's like, well, you know what? Weed's legal. Let's just get stoned and hopefully this will just blow over.
Yeah, everything's closed except the weed store opens during the pandemic, which is hilarious to me.
I bet it's fucking booming too.
I'm sure.
Anyways, I think McGee's up for Elton John.
Yeah, go Biggie.
All right, so for Rocket Man, I gotta say it's probably a pretty low score. 55.
All right, let's go Nathan.
I'm gonna give it even lower. I'm gonna give it 41 because I've trusted my gut this whole time and it hasn't been paying off. But I'm ready for it.
So he's
I'm gonna
not
give it
trusting his gut.
I'm gonna give it a 60 because Bohemian was a 60. So just put all the music shit
Something
together.
the same.
All right, so I have seen both Bohemian Rhapsody and Rocket Man. I would argue I really enjoyed Bohemian Rhapsody. I thought it was overall a better film, but horrible actual editing. But Rocket Man is certified fresh at 89%.
Holy
Jesus.
shit. I gotta watch it then.
Maybe I'm probably gonna have to fucking watch that now.
I gotta say,
Right.
this one was more of a musical. Bohemian Rhapsody was not a musical. Rocket Man's more of a musical.
Yeah.
So is it more like Across the Universe? Wait.
No, it's nothing like. It's not in the Marvel universe. It's completely outside of the
Oh.
Marvel universe. Thanos does not make an appearance.
Rocket Man. Which
no.
Marvel guy? Which Avenger is he?
Across the Universe. Like
Oh,
the
dude.
Beatles movie.
Dude,
No.
Didn't Michael Bay direct The Rocket Man?
The Rocket Man, he flies through the bad guy.
Hey, do
But
you
I
guys
gotta
remember The Rocketeer?
Yeah.
No, I watched I had the movie on VHS.
No, mine was Captain Planet, and he saved the planet, and he failed hard because look at us. We're washing her
Listen.
fucking hoses.
Okay,
If
you're
there's
saying
anything I know about Captain Planet is he's a hero and he's gonna bring pollution down to zero. So
so.
that's all I can tell you about.
I'm going to really test you guys here. You guys say Captain Planet, but what about Captain Power?
Oh, jeez.
Oh Christ!
Jay,
Okay,
You're way over my head.
Captain Power.
Yes,
I don't-
Captain Power.
Refresh my memory now.
Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future, I believe it is. They were ragtag mercenaries fighting against the robots who were taking over, like, the not too distant future, which was like 1996 or something, in this post-apocalyptic thing. And the bad guys had like these flashing chests. It was really bad. It was bad, but
Captain
it went on for like
Power.
2 years.
It sounds
Anyway,
Went
familiar.
on straight for 2 years straight. They just filmed everything.
Okay, but have you guys explored that there's like some of these series on Netflix that, like, if you go and look in like the stuff for kids, there's definitely a lot of some of these shows that we used to watch as kids. They're like, I fucking found VR Troopers the other day. Remember
I was
VR
not allowed on
Troopers?
that channel. We're not allowed on the kids channel.
Yeah. There's a parental block on the kids
It
channel.
says, "Are you in all the ways to the earth?" and it just blocks us. So
Yeah,
You're like,
no,
yeah, this
it would
content
beat
is
up a lot of my
inappropriate.
time.
Oh God. So what do we got next, Jay?
All right, the next one focuses on Jimmy Smith Jr. No matter who you are, no matter where you live, we're all bound by borders. We're all bound by borders. Many of us content to live within these super long. I'm not going into that. The bloody movie is 8 Mile.
Oh, that
Actually-
was an Oscar as well, eh?
For
That
the
was a
music, I
great
think.
movie.
I actually love all the rap musics. Get
Yeah,
Rich or
let me-
Die Trying, 8 Mile, whatever Biggie's movie was. they're all fucking great.
Let me tell you, I think the Notorious was Biggie. Anyway,
Notorious,
Oh,
yeah.
hold on. Let me tell you, a fun game to play. Probably about, I'd say like 5 years ago. 8 Mile played on Much Music, and I played a drinking game with my cousins. And every time they bleeped out a swear, you had to drink. The most fucked up I've ever been. What a bad family reunion.
No,
You know?
no kidding. It's not exactly a family-friendly movie.
No.
But
Not
8
the
Mile-
worst
Family
loved it.
reunion,
The
but
kids
a
loved
bad
it.
one.
See, the problem with 8 Mile is that, like, the movie that I can remember was good, but I don't know if I'm just remembering the soundtrack. Because
Soundtrack.
the
was great.
soundtrack was amazing to that movie. And, like, if you really think of the story, like, cut out the rap battles, is it really that great?
Hey, McGee, hold on. Kate Beckinsale nude at an hour and 50 minutes and 33 seconds. And just kidding. I don't know the time, but
Kate Beckinsale's not even in that movie.
are you sure?
It's Kim Basinger
Oh, that's the same
what's the
person.
difference?
That's the same
And Brittany
person.
Murphy.
and
Kim
Brittany
Basinger,
Murphy.
Brittany Murphy.
But Kim Basinger plays his mom.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking
Yeah.
about.
For sure.
Same thing.
She's all like, "Get out of my house, rabbit!" and throwing shit at him. And her house is a trailer. It's not a house.
Okay, I'm going to hit this at 88%. Done.
Oh, 8 for the 8 Mile.
Oh, you like that
Oh.
shit, bro?
All right.
Darcy.
I'm giving it. I'm gonna give it a 92 because I love that movie.
92.
76.
Yeah, it's gonna be low.
76.
Yeah. I'm convinced by my soundtrack versus movie theory.
I'll tell you one thing. One person was 1 point off, almost got the 5-point swing.
Oh,
8 Mile is certified fresh at 75.
Oh!
Audience
so close.
score 54.
wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of racist people. Out
Well, clearly they never threw up their mom's spaghetti, so fuck them.
there.
There you go.
It's because they couldn't relate. Bunch of elitist audience.
Bunch of elitists.
Oh, God.
All right, so we have one last one here.
Hit us.
I feel like it's not even possible, but let's go. Let's go.
There's not that
McGee
many
guess-
music movies.
Guess 0, McGee.
Okay. It's the
All
Price is Right
Yeah, so-
rules.
So here, this is actually one of my I've always really liked this movie.
Jack
This is
Black.
Gary Busey's sterling performance as Buddy Holly in the Buddy Holly story.
Oh my goodness.
Just
Carrie
Yeah,
Busey is
I was born in '89.
Yeah. Well, I was born in '86 and this was released in '78. So,
Oh my goodness. Well, apparently
have you never?
we
Have any of you seen this? The Buddy Holly.
I thought it
story?
was going to be School of Rock. I'm so
Screw
bummed
that.
out right
I was-
now.
It was either this or La Bamba. It was going to be one of the two.
Well, both of those I have no idea what those are. So
Oh my god, kid.
we're all
That's
shooting
why-
in the dark here. Well, McGee, have you seen
Hey.
the movie?
we're millennials, man. We're millennials.
So are we. So am I.
McGee,
I
have
don't
you seen the
know.
movie?
You're on the line. McGee's a millennial, but not you.
Have I seen the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have not seen the movie.
Oh,
Unfortunately, I mean, if we had
So
like,
we're
if
all
we had
shooting
the,
blind.
if we were doing this
We're all-
podcast with the Shaft Men, maybe they would understand this movie a little bit more.
Oh, what about Old Bones?
Oh,
Those
yeah, you got
douchebags.
burned by your partner. Wow, how does that
Oh.
feel?
Oh, well, the worst bass player I've ever heard in my life. Start off with in that band. I've heard he's done some pretty horrible things. He's pretty.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, man.
I know he. Supposedly he beat his child growing up.
Oh,
I hear.
Oh.
You did.
The bass player beat his child. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard.
Serious scandal in that band.
what?
It's my father, guys.
I-
you guys
no,
look very
Jack.
concerned.
What is
I gotta
happening?
be honest. I was thinking about other things in my life, and then we're talking about beating children.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah,
I
the
heard that,
bass-
and I really got shocked.
I'm
Bass
just
player in the
shocked.
Shaft Men. All I see is the look on their face, like, is
Well,
this
this
is this
got
gonna
really
go into the
serious.
final podcast?
I'm all for it. Like, you know, it teach their own. If that's how you're gonna raise your kids, like,
Hey,
I can't shut you down. But goddamn,
Gil
you know,
plus
it's a little
notes.
dark.
But now we know. Now we know you raised this guy who puts up this movie no one's ever fucking heard of. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you guys haven't heard of one of the biggest music movies of all time. Whatever.
Well, no one fucking knows it, Jay. I don't know.
I
what to
thought
tell you.
you know what? It could have been Rock of Ages. It could have been School of Rock. It could have been something with the name like the word rock.
Sorry, Pitch Perfect next time. I'll pitch
Oh, I love that. That's a
It's
great movie.
perfect. 66% for sure.
Yeah,
both
Anna,
of you-
Anna
No,
Kendrick
both of
is
you
my
seen
favorite.
Pitch Perfect? Have both three of you seen
So-
Pitch Perfect?
I have.
I actually haven't. But
Yeah.
wait, is Jessica
Exactly.
Alba in it? Is
Exactly.
Jessica Alba in Pitch Perfect?
No, she is not. You have no idea what actresses' names are.
Her name is Anna Kendrick, and she's awesome.
She's basically Jessica Alba, though, like a smaller.
Yeah,
junior.
nothing like
That's
her.
true. She's a younger, doesn't look
Redhead.
anything like.
Yeah.
Yeah, we doing Pitch
Jessica
Perfect,
Alba.
or are we doing this other fucking movie? Like,
We're
I need to
doing.
know.
We're,
We should do Pitch Perfect 3.
no. Wait, first of all, you don't get to come on this podcast and dictate the rules of the game.
Listen, fuck your game. You know what I mean? We're doing Pitch Perfect.
Okay, what?
Dude, we're
please
not the ones bragging about getting beat up as a kid.
Okay,
You know?
okay.
Oh, my
But,
God.
but what I
Right.
was
Just
wondering
saying.
about is something that sort of went over all our heads here is the fact that Gary Busey was playing Buddy Holly.
Yep.
Like, does that casting decision seem to make a lot of sense to you
This
guys?
is before he
Was Gary Busey always crazy?
No, this was him as the man.
As
He
the
was-
He
man.
was.
Okay.
I feel like
Okay.
Gary Busey wasn't
He
always
was
crazy.
nominated for Best Actor for this.
Well, okay,
well,
so
let
it's
me-
got to
let
be
me
great
hit you.
then.
I'm gonna hit you with some percentage here, my son. Um,
The film also won Best Academy Award for Best Adaptation Score. So Best Music.
that's
musical-
clearly 86% for sure.
I'm gonna go off the board and say it was 110%.
Oh my goodness.
You gotta stay on the board. What's on the board?
Okay, sorry. I'm gonna give it 95%.
Oh wow. Yeah, really, real
Hmm.
shit on me. You know, that's cool.
I'll say 96%, Bob.
Oh, that's so much more of a dick move, you know? I tried to go
So-
off the board.
Buddy Holly is fresh at 100%.
Goodness.
I
Wow.
said 110. I feel like they wanted to go to 110, but they couldn't.
So, is it? Are you
Okay, well-
serious? You're
Is it
serious?
that good?
100%.
100%.
Wow.
So not
It's a
one,
great movie.
not one
Buddy
critic
Holly
said
and
that.
there's actually no consensus, so it's not certified fresh yet. There has to be a consensus, anyways. But 100%. But Buddy Holly and La Bamba, that's about Richie Valens. He was this guy. He was a rock musician. He played La Bamba, a couple other songs too. You guys might not know about this, but like, there's these guys who played music before 1996 skate punk.
I like 1993. 1993 was a good year.
And anyways, I would
forget about
suggest maybe
94.
learn about music and go watch these movies. So anyways,
Tally up those scores, my man.
in last place with a 226 point differential.
Obviously. Yeah,
is
just get it
Nathan.
out there. Just say it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jay. That was
And
wonderful.
so then there's a close race for first. Difference of about 20 some odd points. And in first place is Corey for 129 points.
This game
That's
is rigged.
biased. That's biased.
rigged.
Hey, it's because you guys are partners on the show. Come on.
Well, let's just
He's
put it
giving
this
him
way. I have a computer in front of me and can look up these scores at the drop of a hat. So, I
Oh my
mean,
goodness.
just saying.
And you got
Show us your
129
wiener.
points.
I want to know you're not cheating. Show us your wiener. I need to see that.
Unfortunately not. Sorry.
Somehow I
Parents.
get shit
Parents,
knowing
am I
LeBron
right?
by Buddy Holly.
So that being said, you guys suck at movie trivia of some kind. And you really should like deepen your knowledge about classic music, not classical music, but like just classic rock music. You know, just
Can I say one thing? I don't care.
It's like Richie Valens. Did he invent
I
the
second
power
that
chord?
notion.
Listen, I like some old stuff. I like the Eagles. I like their harmonies. I like Neil Young, and then I like
Are
punk
you
rock.
one of those? Are you one of those
McGee,
kids who like?
I'm pretty sure Jesus invented the power chord. So look
Jesus
that up.
did invent the power chord, and it was his birthday on Easter. So good for him. Happy birthday, Jesus.
That's actually Matthew 14:12. Look it up.
I think it's three.
Are you two guys into like believers that the Tragically Hip is the best Canadian band ever?
Oh my goodness! Don't.
Good.
They're
If you guys
probably-
say yes, I'm going to kick you. You guys will never come
Oh
back.
my god!
Totally
I'm also
unbiased.
there.
I went to Dropkick Murphys in Ottawa at Blues Fest, and Tragically Hip played after. So my buddy and I watched Dropkick, mosh the whole time. It was fucking awesome. Dropkick is amazing. Walk over. I'm like, let's go watch the Hip. Like, I've never seen him. It was so fucking bad, I left. I was like, this guy cannot sing. Why do people like this band? Like, yeah, I get it. Like, the songs are pretty good on the radio, but I was like, that was fucking horrendous. And then, like, later on, everyone's like, he's a Canadian icon. I was like, is he, though? Like, no one outside of Canada knows who the fuck he is. Like, they're basically nobodies outside of Canada. I was like, I do like their music, but he could not put on a live performance for shit.
Okay, so the takeaway from this podcast apparently would be that All the Wasted Years really doesn't like the Tragically Hip.
Well, two
Like,
of four. We
really
don't know about
doesn't
other
like
two.
the Tragically Hip.
But I'm just saying, like, had he not died, would I have spent more money to go see him again? No fucking way. It was fucking bad. Man. I couldn't believe how bad it was. And I told, because our buddy Daly loves them, and I told him, I said, dude, before all this happened, I was really not into it. So I'm not gonna fake my love for them just like everyone else. It's just like, I just don't get it.
It's, you know what? I've never seen the Tragically Hip live, but I did find a new appreciation for the music as, you know, this whole thing was happening and he was getting sick and they were doing their whole farewell
You know
tour.
what? I watched that last show and I was shocked at how many fucking songs I knew that he was singing. I was like, oh my
They
goodness.
play
like,
this? Yeah, like they play this?
Yeah, I was like, what? This is them? Like, sure, he did it terribly because, I mean, he's not very good. But I mean, like,
he can't
man,
sing. He could never
I
sing.
knew all the songs. I knew all the songs.
Yeah.
He sang, and like he was singing out of key or whatever the fuck he was doing. But I mean, at the same time, I was like, man, they wrote a lot of good fucking tunes.
This is true. They had really good songwriting, a lot of good songs. I prefer the radio version, but it's pretty bad when you go to a show and you're like, fuck, that was brutal. Like, brutal.
All right. Well, I don't know that I fully share that opinion. But that being said, on that note, we have gone for about an hour and 20 minutes, guys.
Thank goodness.
I think we're getting kicked out.
You gotta draw the line eventually.
Yeah,
when the fucking people you have on are shitting all over the Tragically Hip, you hang up the phone.
I got somebody sneaking up on me.
No.
You guys didn't see somebody come in the room?
Oh, that's
I think my wife was trying to scare me.
Oh, well, she got you.
Oh.
Yeah, she did. She looked kind
Get
of.
us.
I'm scared. Maybe there's a
All right,
bird
McGee.
out there.
McGee, I'm gonna call it a night. And Jake, you guys, thanks for having us. And you know what? This was a really good time, and really appreciate it. Hey, check out our album. You said, McGee, you do it better.
Okay, well, before we shut her down there, tell everybody where they can find you online and where they can find your album and where to look out for where you might announce some future shows.
Oh, Darcy, you take this one because I don't have anything.
You guys completely missed that. My wife just finished my sentence. I said, where can people find shows that you'll eventually schedule? And she says, that no one's going to go to now.
Yeah.
Sorry, was she talking about LaForge or all the way?
That's exactly who she was talking about.
I'm just kidding.
Let's be real. Most people won't make it to the end of the podcast, and if they do,
then they're going to be really upset that we just shit on the Tragically Hip for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They're going to be sad. We're losing fans right now.
So
but 99% of the world doesn't even know what that band is, and they don't know what we are either. So,
Let's be real.
Well,
you can find us at facebook.com. How do websites work? No, just go to Facebook, All the Ways to the Ears, Instagram, all our shit's posted there, and Spotify, Apple Music. Stream, put it on repeat. We'll make several pennies, and then we'll pay for the next album that way. So that's it.
A1.
Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot,
It's
guys.
only going to take like 2 billion listens for us to pay for our next album. So get out there.
You guys have had more listens to the song College from people listening to our podcast than you have on your streaming services. So let's
pay the bill.
Put
McGee.
that way. No. You guys pay us. Sorry.
Where's the royalties, my man?
Anyways, thanks a lot for coming on the podcast, guys. It's always a good time, and cheers there. We'll talk again soon.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.